that's so exciting, and it's so amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
Why? I don't know why it's so small. You know what? I could just sleep. That's what you want when you tuned into something. How tiny I am, though. Surely I should be like that. That's a bit much, isn't it? Like that. Why? Look how tired I am. You can see close up. Pinnles. Where are we? I think someone joined. I think someone's on the phone. Plot Loser is a member. You will enjoy all the benefits of membership, all those private member streams. They're so exclusive, Plot Loser, so exclusive. The myth is that they don't exist. Some people think I don't even do them. There's a message there. It's like a metaphor. Which is a metaphor. Arius is going to do some sausages, so don't start without him. That's all right. There'll be a bit of gibber. People have forgotten I existed because it's been so long, and I will explain why. Honestly, surprising I'm here. It is surprising that I'm here. Now, how do I get it to automatically start all the super chats that are going to flood in? And right, auto star super chat, sweet. Usual grift, entropy is up there, super chat's down there. I'm Brassic. There you go. That's all the grift I got in me today. Well, I say that, but it comes out nice. Thanks for joining, No Plot Loser. A nice one, Manny Move for long-termist 37 gargantuan membershipage. Membershipage, I should have said. I think that. Anyone else getting aroused? No. Could you hear the chair then, or was it just a bloke on the internet going, anyone else getting aroused? Not that the chair made much difference, but there is something there. Nearly enough people here. Let's get some hellos into the oi polloi here. Why don't we do that? Emma G, 24 months. And I do realise that people were shunted off when I got banned and then brought back and all that. Have I got a story? Have I got a story to tell you? And I have. But I am saying this isn't going to be a long one. I am going to tell you about when I discovered that nothing exists. Not something I didn't know before, but when something when you see it happen, and when you can't really see an absence. I'll get there, but it's going to be about an hour. I mean, it's already nearly 1 o'clock in the morning here. I've been working since 11 o'clock this morning. Hard times out there in business, man. Oh my days. Really, really difficult. And of course, I won't go into this too much, but Q3 is always the hardest. We're in the third quarter of the financial year, yeah? So, and it's summer, essentially, where my markets are America and the UK, most of America. Certainly the East Coast, anyway, as far as I can gather. And so a lot of people are out and about. A significant amount of people are making use of the long, warm evenings in England and in America going out. It's summer, isn't it? It's an outdoory kind of time of the year. Now, that gets compounded because you've got to prepare for Q4, which is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas, which means getting in loads of stock. If you want to be able to scrape and get a little slither of profit off it, you can't be doing it by air anymore because of all the taxes and all the tariffs and all this. Oh, no, that's bad for the world. That's bad. You're killing the world with your air freight. So it's going to be more expensive, which doesn't stop air freight, doesn't stop it happening. It just means only rich people can survive it. It means only corporations can get their stuff moved around quicker allowing them to plan their businesses better, giving their businesses more chance of surviving. You know, you've got to look at some of the strange, and I'm going to say the word systemic, structural class impositions that really, you know, they support the people that set them up. What a surprise. And they make it really hard for others. So, for instance, I've got to send stuff by sea. It takes 9-10 weeks. The same stuff by air, 3 days, right? But you're not taking a lot of money in Q3 to prepare for Q4. So how do I buy all my Christmas stock? Now, it happens every year, but this year, because of something happening because of something happening in Europe and now something happening in the Middle East, you know what? If you follow me on Twitter, I regularly do meme drops. They're like 20, 30 memes. I don't necessarily support the position of them. I put them up because I find them interesting and they stimulate debate. But people are asking me, what do you think about that? What do you think about this? Not really my thing, is it? Like a very complicated sort of religious and territorial and political, and it's just got everything in there, and I don't know enough about it to give you any opinion. All I do know is if things were done differently, people wouldn't have to suffer and die in hideous ways for power and money hungry people to get more power and more money. That I think I can say for a fact. You know, I'm never 100% about anything, but I think if we arranged the way civilizations worked, that wouldn't need to happen. And strangely, or perhaps actually not surprisingly, it's the people who are power and money mad that you need to eliminate from the situation, who actually do nothing to help. Pipe Williams, all right, danger. Always watch the streams, rarely catch them live though. Good solid viewing. It's been a long time. I should have left you without a strong rhyme to step to. Time's up. Sorry I kept you. Yep, I was in the 80s with a little plastic 2-finger ring that I got in Camden Market, and I was told I couldn't wear it at school. You only give it more power. Thank you, Pipe. You have started what is no doubt going to keep a roof over my head this week. I hope you're well, man. I didn't know you watched the streams, to be honest with you. Oh, well, if you're not watching them live, I probably wouldn't. I have seen your name in a comment or two, though. Anyway, I hope you're well. Lovely to see you. Thank you for the super Shah. That wasn't meant to be happening. Lovely numbers. I mean, I haven't been around for a while, but I'm just going to wait for, look, there's 80 people here. When it gets to 95, I'm going to tell you what's happened YouTube-wise. Not because it's, you know, I'm not going to sit here and bore you telling you, well, YouTube said this. It's actually quite interesting because of what it says about the utopian idealism of the platform and the platforms, by which I include society. And then I'm going to tell you when I realized again that nothing actually exists. And that'll all come together with me actually boring you about the near completion of my manuscript, which is on time. I told you November. We're not there yet. I reckon I hand what I think is the last draft. It never is, to my editor, and then he chops it up and says, "Let's go." That's what I hope. He might say otherwise. Anyway, we're moving up quick. Got to 84. Let's say hellos. It's been a while, so why not? Hello, Manny Moo. Good to see you. Hello, Arius. Brian Ravenscroft. Hello, Brian. He's off work sick. Sorry to hear that, Brian. I hope you're well. You followed me on Twitter earlier. Sitting at home bored. Got too many friction burns. Done your Pornhub your morning out of the way, and so you thought, oh, fuck it, I'll join X. Vinny's on the firm. Nice to see you. Raisin Sacks in. John, hello, mate. Long time. John Francis 2.0. I'd never imagine you get banned. What have you said? I can't imagine why you've got a new account. Oh, you well, John. I'll see you later, mate. I wish I'd never put so much effort into saying hello to the lad now. Tricky Woo is on the firm. Emma G, lovely. Just Sean. Chasworth, the mayor of what? Oh, you know what I thought that was? I tried to anticipate the pronunciation, but I thought you were the mayor of Hoytsville. But you're the mayor of Hoytsville. I'm the mayor of... We're all mayors of Hoytsville. 83, nearly there. Void's on the firm. Lovely to see you. Humans is here. Lovely. Doc Shelley. Nice to see you. Garland. Good Lord. Go on, pull a wheelie. JP, RDW1. I don't know who you are, RDW1. Are you new? Hello, Eddie Bates. Are you new? Eddie Bates. Hang on. Did Eddie Bates live with Hilda Ogden? Hilda and Eddie, and then Stan, the old bloke. Is that who Eddie Bates is? Or what was his surname? Anyone remember Eddie's surname, unless it was Bates? Or is that your real name? I don't know. Hello, John. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Mr. Fused is in. Anglo's in. Andrew's in. Ricardo's in. Yeah, it's really going down the pan. Yeah, I mean, there is no end of days, but you realise what a nice time of things you've had when you realise how quickly things can go down the pan. You know, the other thing I would say, I think it actually is the same as what I already said, but I think killing people for power and money is avoidable. I think that is. Anyway, nice to see you, Clive. Nice to see you, Andrew. Did I say hello to you? I did. Hello, Anglo. Again, you have to. Henry Hill's on the firm. Always nice. McCoy's in. Hello, Mark. How are you, son? Steve Cray. How are you, Steve? Ozmeister. How are you, mate? Willow's in. Hello, Willow. Lovely. They're all in. All the OGs are in. We're at 87. We're nearly there. Jake, thanks, John, letting me know that. You know, me and you, our paths have crossed like chemtrails in an apocalyptic dawn. You can eat that if you want. You can spread it on your life sandwich and eat it, wash it down with a cup of tea of truth and bitterness. Bitter as overstewed tea. Have some of that. Get that up, yeah. LOE for elephant. Un plaisir. Andrew's here. You know what? Get off the internet for a couple of days and all the old firm are here. Pags is in. Purnell Cooper. Good Lord. You have been here before. Oh, long time no see, but a long time ago. Lee Bartholomew. New or just a different Lee? Abstract Steve, hello mate, how are you? Any new people, let us know in the chat and you'll see what an amazing community this is, and everyone will just go, hello, and it's nice. And that's all they expect of you, a bit of integrity, a bit of honesty. That's it, really. Nice, isn't it? Nice place to go. Black Pigeon Peeled. No, I won't be giving up. I am knackered though. I'm gonna get into it. That was very nice of you, Pipe. Very kind. You inspired a revolution, a donation revolution. And just as I say that, I go into entropy. Brick Dictator drops 15 big ones. Says, thanks for coming on. I'm sitting at work. Work will set me through. I nearly said 3. Work will set me free. Thank you, Brick Dictator. Hoit to that. There you go. In entropy. Amazing. So that's good. LOLC 350. I hope you're well, Brick Dictator. I know you don't like me talking about it, but I actually showed someone in Thailand your channel. Well, I showed them me on your channel, you know. And I didn't tell them either. I said, watch this. And they went, hang on a minute. I went, yeah. Marsh. Hello, Marsh. Misty world. It's always a misty world, though, really, isn't it? Because I can see clearly now the mist has gone. Right, I think I'm done with names. Moody Edge, if I have missed you. Hello, Hans. Hello, Johnny Red Pill Seed. This always happens, doesn't it? Right, I'm not going to look at that. But if I have missed you and you're an OG, I will say hello at some point. We're over 100 now. So let me have a cup of tea and I'll tell you all about it. It's good, though. It's interesting stuff. It's a little bit practical. It's a little bit YouTube-y, but then it's a bit existential, a little bit of philosophy, and then a little bit of life. And then we'll leave with a bit of music, and that'll be your Wednesday early evening. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, I hope it is. Oh, it's Thursday here. Good Lord. So, I'll make a Dragon's Den video, okay? I'm a YouTuber. I make a Dragon's Den video. Admittedly, I haven't been streaming as much as I used to. Thank you. It would appear I've just got another donation. Oh, hello, Ian. Good to see you, mate. Whacker-Smack's in. Amazing. Hello. Hello, Ian. Hello, Ultra Mega. Hello, Ragnar. He's with his old dear. Look at Rags. Put her in the cupboard and talk to us. What the fuck? Jesus. Say hello to her from me, Rags. You do that, son. You can see Rags and his mother, can't you? Sitting down, pint each. Right. Marsh has dropped a 5-bit and he says to help oil the wheels. It really is as well. Thank you, Marsh. Machano Kapra Shatuta. Right. Where do I start? Because I actually have got a story arc here. So I told you, didn't I, about 2 weeks ago, the timing's going to be a bit clunky because I can't remember the start of this sentence, let alone what day things happened on. A couple of weeks ago, I said to you, I might get a ban. So if I disappear for a while, that's all. Don't worry, I'll come back. And when you get a ban, they proper punish you. You're not allowed to leave comments. You're not allowed to write on your community tab. So you can't even make a, you know, if it was if they were a bit nicer, I've got to be a little bit careful because as you'll see, they have been a little bit nice to me in the end. If they're a little bit nicer, they'll say, right, you've got a strike, you've got a week ban, you can make a 2-minute video to tell your subscribers. So that you could at least say, okay, hello people, I'm on a ban, I won't be around for a week, but I'm all right. Do you know what I mean? But you can't do nothing, no contact, unless obviously they follow you on Twitter, SUBSTACK, for instance, where there's loads of excellent shorts and a couple of new ones, but it's all been about the manuscript, so I've been a bit slack on SUBSTACK, but it's all right, there's plenty of reading there. Now, hello, Livy. Hello, Dirty Harold. He hasn't watched a Dangerfield video in a few years, since Woes was active. Glad to see his hairline hasn't receded. Well, there's not a lot to recede, mate. If it goes any further back, I'll be able to scratch it. Don't know what that meant, but it had the rhythm and the form of like a quick comeback, didn't it? I think you can sometimes get away with that. I'm going to try it with nothing. Well, if it was to go back any further, I'll be touching elbows when I've done a cartwheel. Yeah, brilliant. I think I've got through my life like that, to be honest with you. Right. So I told you. Hello, Rob. So I told you. Hello, Plastic. Did I see? No, I didn't. I saw someone else saying hello to him. Is the bearded one here? Livy. Well, I'm going to assume that Plastic African's on the firm. Carlos Sky Watcher is in. Marsh, Ludwig. I'm still caught up in names anyway. Right, here we go. So, a few sights and sounds. Lovely. There he is. There's the Plasticano. Will I be going? Well, what you lot don't know is when Wozy sits down and makes his list, he has to start with the most important down to the, the muck under your fingernails when you scrape the barrel. And he's got like a palimpsest, essentially is what it is, for every year's millennial. And so he can just sort of delete and write over, and certain names get stronger when they're on 6 years on the trot. So when I got the message, would you do me the honour, nay privilege? Actually, I don't know if he wants me to tell you. No, I'm not going on it this year. It won't be the 7th year on the bounce or something like that. I've added more to it. I don't know what the rules are, to be honest with you. I think I've given the game away. Mrs. Me in it. Hello, love. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Mrs. Me in it has already confirmed the Christmas survival box is coming. Outrageous. I tell you every year, everything. It's like mini Christmas in a box. Pudding, booze to light the pudding, mashed potato. And I'll tell you what, I never liked that powdered mashed potato, and she sent me some of it, two of them. And I told my brother when I was saying, she sends me all this lovely stuff, handmade Christmas crackers. He even went to the thought of not putting the explosive strip in it because it might not have got through customs, which is amazing. Sweets for the kids in the province. When Pax Max turned up, he had a big carrier bag of sweets for the kids in the province. They got some of them. Anyway, fairy lights, little Christmas tree. I've still got the fairy lights, solar panel fairy lights. Lovely. I dressed my girlfriend up in them before, giving her a bit of my Christmas tree. Giving her a bit of my white Christmas. Terrible. Before ringing her sleigh bells. Know what I mean? Join in the chat if you've got any more seasonal sex jokes. Yeah, what, the world or me? If you can keep those together, sweet. But anyway, Mrs. Me in it. So I mentioned it to my brother, and he went, hang on, let's have a look at that one. I held it up. He said to me, they're wicked. He said, they're wicked. He said, it's not smash. He said, it's come on a lot since my mum used to serve a packet mashed potato from a jug. Mix 100 milliliters of water. Well, if I mix 500 ml, surely there'll be 5 times as much mashed potato. There you go. There's your bread sauce. Thanks, Mum. Got a straw. It was all right though, because it would mix with the piss water gravy. And if you were clever, well, actually, my mum gave me a plate once. The steak was about that big and about 0.5 mil deep, but it looked like a yin yang of like mashed potato and gravy. And I thought, you've got to give her that at least. I don't think it was intentional, which makes it better. Let me just get some air. Let me remember what my name is. So, I'll make a Dragon's Den video, as I've made 34 of. If you haven't watched them, go and watch them. They're good. They're bringing noobs in. And they're also quite entertaining. If you like them, they are, obviously. Like most things, if you like it, you'll like it. Hang on, I've got an itch there. Hang on. So, it gets a copyright claim. You can't use this, blocked in all territories. Now, most of the time with the Dragon's Dens, this does go to me telling you about how I know nothing exists, all right? Trust me. I'll just try and get through the boring bits fast, which is the whole stream. East and West. So, basically, my brother said they were wicked, that. He said, it's not smash, mate. And I thought, nah, powdered mashed potatoes just not for me. No, I'm not doing it. Until one night, I made a lovely steak. But usually, I just have just make a steak. And I thought, I've got some gravy granules up there. That'd be nice. And I thought, I've got some frozen peas as well. And then I thought, hang on a minute. I've got some powdered mash. And I thought, fuck it, give it a go. And honestly, I reckon you'd struggle to tell that wasn't potato. I looked at the ingredients, it was like 98% potato, 1% not potato. It said it, 1% not potato, 1%. Really convincing and excellent. I was like, fucking wicked. Look at the steak and mash on this bastard. Anyway, let me just check entropy. There you go. So, most of the time with the Dragon's Den videos, they get, you can't monetize this. This is copyright material, but you can show it. And so I spend a few hours making the video. It's only an hour and a half, an hour saying it, but then it's got to be edited. It's got to be uploaded onto the editing software. Then it's got to be rendered. Then it's got to go up onto YouTube. 4 or 5 hours, and quite draining. If you watch one, I'm having to be right on my game to be able to respond in an entertaining, informative, educational, edutainment kind of way. So a little bit draining. And so when they suddenly say, no, you can't monetize this and no one can see it. So I'm like, hello 42, good to see you, mate. And I thought, okay, so when this has happened before, you just dispute. That's the first thing, because no humans watched it. It's a copyright match. They use computers to match it, and they're like, no, that's not his. So when you do a dispute, you have to write why you should be able to use it. And so it's like, my content is copied under fair use or fair dealing. My video's 48 minutes long. I use 10 minutes of the source material, so blah blah blah. You've got to prove it's transformative, and I'm sort of like at a ratio of 4 to 1. If this is the definition of transformative, if you don't want to listen to me, you don't watch this. You watch the original, and then you've got to say why it doesn't replace the original and why it's not going to cost them money. So I just done that. Got ChatGPT to write it because it's written disputes in the past that have worked. And it's really annoying because when you make a video, you want people to see it. You think, wicked, I'll upload that and I'll see what people think of it. Or I want people to enjoy it. And then I get a thing back from them saying, no, you're not allowed to. You're still not allowed to. No. Nice one, Enre. Speaking of Christmas and Dragon's Den, get yourself some diversity decorations. I will do. Some diversity. I wouldn't even know what they are. That's not a question. I'm not going to get strung up on the YouTube gallows for asking you to put diversity decorations in the chat. That would be ridiculous. Thank you, Henry Marciano Capriccionato Tutu. Great stuff, sir. Right. So then this is where it gets weird that a lot of people don't realize. Then I can just go, fuck it. All that work, all that effort, bin it. Because the next step is actually legal proceedings. Yeah. The next step is, you want to appeal, do you? You want to make a legal claim, and they advise you to get a lawyer. Now, I think that there's a little bit of that, them just trying to say, go away. You're obviously trying to make money out of someone else's content. But they do say you might want to seek legal advice. What's your full name, address, contact phone number, which no one wants to give YouTube anyway. But I thought, fuck it. This is fair use. And I've got to fight for my right to Dragon's Den reaction party. And I wrote an incredible appeal, and I was quoting, I say me, I mean Bard, which is Google's ChatGPT. I wrote an incredible appeal. Not in the bit about it being transformative, I quoted Roland Barthes. I really did, because Roland Barthes wrote an essay called Change the Object Itself, where he talks about analysis takes an object, it could be anything. It could be a painting, it could be an event, it could be a person, anything, an object. and the analysis actually alters the thing it's talking about, which is strange because that sort of stuff was being written in the early 60s. And then when quantum ideas started getting popularized, the idea that the actual looking at the object affects what you see, kind of interesting that sort of, high physics and sort of modern philosophy kind of had like a crossover at that point. I quoted Bart's. And then I started quoting other fair use cases that had gone to court. Yeah, I dug up a load. I asked Bard. I said, Bard, list me 10 YouTube fair use rulings. And I was quoting there. You really have to give it some. You really have to give it some. Because if the copywriter, the people who owns the copyright, if they think that your definition isn't good enough, they can literally go, right, I'll see you in court. And you can get a strike if they don't accept it. You get a strike anyway. So it said, right, if the copyright owner doesn't respond in 7 days, when you do an appeal, your video goes back up immediately. That's why I said to you last week, watch that Dragon's Den video while you can, because it might disappear at any minute. They had 7 days to reply. So 2 days ago, I'm thinking, wicked, 3 o'clock in the morning, sort of that night. If that video's still up and I haven't got an email from YouTube saying Sony Pictures have disagreed with your claim for fair use, I haven't got a strike and I'm not banned for a week. Okay. In the middle of that, I go to Thailand. I go to Thailand for 4 days. It's only over the water from here. It's easy. It's cheap. I had 2 of my best friends out there, so I thought, wicked. I needed a break. I also got served some litigation for my business. I was telling you at the beginning about Q3 being a nightmare. No, I got served. Yeah, you've got to stop doing that. And I'm looking at losing a massive chunk of turnover because I don't know whether I'm allowed to talk about this, but someone who was wholesaling me, so supplying me goods, now wants to retail the same product where I was retailing it. And we've had that arrangement for about 3 years. So that's nice of them. We can't compete with them because they're the wholesalers. Thanks for your help. So, yeah, I had to, the night before I went away to get away from work, I've been working myself, too much. You need to relax. You need to rest. My missus said to me, she said, you're sleeping 3 hours a night, and that's barely sleep anyway. She said, go away, go and, if friend X is going to be out in Patong, go to Patong and see him. And Bawley lives out there, obviously. Just forget about work, please. She begged me, really, to fuck off. So, hello, Field Marshal. Is that the original Field Marshal, or did you get a ban? Hello, Barrett. Barrett. I said it deliberately, but I don't know why. Hello, Winstoner. Right. So, it gets to 3 o'clock in the morning. No. So that video's, my appeal worked. It was worth the 3.5 hours writing it. And, Jesus. So that video's up. That's all good, right? So I was thinking, lovely. That's lovely. No ban. I had a week off YouTube anyway to, recharge my batteries. 3 days in Thailand, blah, 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 blah. And then yesterday I get an email. Oh, you're not allowed to show children smoking in videos. What? What? You can't show children smoking in videos. You've got a ban on your channel for a week and a strike under the child safety terms of service. And I was like, right, this is bullshit. It said, click here to review the content. So I clicked on it, but this video is not available. So I went back to it and it said, see more. So I clicked on that. It said one instance is at 4 minutes and 32 seconds, but there could be more. Click here to review the content. Clicked here. This video has been removed by YouTube. This is a good system. So I thought, this is bullshit. I know what they're talking about. Do you remember Redneck Sam? Redneck Sam has been on this channel 3 times where we've had conversations about his life, his farming, putting his hand up the back end of cows and all that stuff. And I originally got to know Redneck Sam because when he was a younger person, his original YouTube channel was reviewing cigarettes. But the thing about Sam is he looks very young. But when he was reviewing cigarettes, he was 20. And they were mad. The videos are like, this is a Camel Light. It's got a nice kind of burnt smell to it. And then he flick the filter and go, yeah, it's got a good tap on it. Then he'd hold it in his hand and go, it's a bit light for me, but you know, for a general everyday smoke, so far so good. Let's have a look at the packet. I know I've gone through about 5 different areas of America, mainly based around New York, but such is Hollywood. And I thought it was hilarious. So I make a video, and because I'm an old bastard, I called it Kids Review Cigarettes, because anyone under 30 is a kid. I refer to Barkley and Harry as kids, and they're like 22, and it's not a pejorative. They're just kids, and they're young people. But the video's gone, so I can't even review it. So I think, right, I've got to appeal this. This is bullshit. Because it said, I checked the rules, it said, you cannot show minors smoking. A minor, and then it said a minor is someone who is under the legal age of blah, 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 blah. And I thought, well, that hasn't happened. So I thought I'd appeal it. Pressed appeal, and it said, your appeal has been submitted. No, you can't say anything. It's just... So a computer has weirdly heard me go, oh, imagine the mind of that computer. Hello, Baz. Imagine the mind of that computer when it heard my voice it heard me go, there is a child smoking cigarettes. And it went, and it formed like a language ball, and it stretched it out, and it turned it, and it altered frequencies, and it come at it from different angles, and it saw it. Child smoked cigarettes, and then it just went, and then loads of little tiny like crawlers what are they, like computer crawlers. And it went for the YouTube terms of service, and it matched up kids and cigarettes and child safety. This all happened like that, though. Strike. Now, I'm not a professional YouTuber, as you can see by the 25 quid I've earned. But some people, this is their livelihood because YouTube told them to do that. YouTube, make a business out of it. We've got analytics, we've got this, we've got that, we've got that. You can show rap videos with people with guns and birds with their tits pouring out of their PVC bras and you know, showing their bums, but there is a bit of dental floss covering their genitals. So, you know, that's all lovely. They've only got about 3 billion views and they're aimed at children. So that's all right. That's all right. It's all right. It's all right for us highly sexualized adults to read fairy stories to kids, make jokes about snorting methamphetamine next to a blatant child. But because the child's amazing, of course, his name is Desmond, is amazing. That's all right. But when I said that Redneck Sam looked like a 14-year-old reviewing cigarettes, the fucking house blew up, you know. But kids don't do that. So I've appealed it, and then it come, but without writing anything, and it come back, and this bloke went to me, he went, yeah, we had another look at your video. Nah, the strike stands, mate. It was like that. It was really like that. He said, we had another look. Yeah, you mean first look. And then I thought, this is ridiculous because there were no minors smoking cigarettes in that video. So because I'm a YouTube partner, which is weird, I know, after all these years, many have fallen around me. But I've played the game, and I know I have, because I like YouTube. I liked having a YouTube channel. Weirdly, I was talking to Devon Tracy about this the other day, and like Rumble and Odyssey. I like YouTube. It's not ideal. It's far from ideal. but it has got its good points. That's why all of us, as much as we despise what they do, we still come back here. And I can actually talk to them. So I wrote them an email. I wrote my support bloke an email. And I said, the thing is, mate, and just be polite. I had my anger already, and I just let the anger come out because I don't want to work. I don't want to write things to people asking for help when I'm angry, because then I'll just pass on the anger. Use anger for what it's for. It tells me something needs to change, and then it gives me energy that I'm not going to lose by going fucking bastards and hitting things. I thought, right, so when I calm down a bit, because I want to be doing things when I'm thinking, not when I'm emotional. And so I wrote to him and I said, the problem is I'm fully aware of the terms of service and I really like my YouTube channel. And it seems a little bit off that you've told me that there's minors smoking in that video. It is a little bit hard having to say that when I know what's allowed on YouTube. Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. They're African. But I said, I know that kid. He's been on my channel. He's got a farm. He's got a Glock 19. He's not a child. He's not a minor. And I thought that would be the last I heard of it. And then this morning I get an email and it went, thanks for writing to us. He said it was weird that you can't appeal those decisions, but you put a good case in when you emailed us. And so we had another look at your video. The video's still blocked, but we've got rid of the ban and the strike. I was like, wow. Wow. Anyway, right. But this is where it gets really weird. And this is why I got a bit scared. I got the timing a bit wrong when I told you it then. I got that strike for the cigarettes video before the time had passed for the Sony Pictures appeal. If Sony had have said, no, that stands, I'd have got a strike. Then I'd have got the strike for the cigarettes video. When you get 2 strikes, you're on the edge, man. You only need 1 more, and that's your channel and my other 5 channels. Yeah, I know that sounds weird. You don't need to know about that. I'm going to tell you about one of them a bit later. I made a short for it. The other shorts on the other channel, it's a lockpicking channel. It's doing my work. But I had 3,000 subscribers. I started making shorts, and I've got 15,000 now. It took me 2 weeks. It took me 2 years to get 3,000 and 2 weeks to get 15,000. One of my shorts has had 3.1 million views. Those shorts, man, because YouTube are terrified of TikTok. Anyway, I talked about that last week, didn't I? Or the other time. So anyway, I go out to Thailand. Now, because I'm coming to the end of my novel, and this is about nothing existing. Because I'm coming to the end of my novel, my manuscript, sorry, it's not a novel, is it? It's not. It's a load of writing. I started writing that manuscript in the hotel. I always stay in the same hotel in Patong. I've been going there for decades, And I started writing that manuscript in the hotel that I was in this time. And I'm here. I was there a few days ago writing it, and it's like the end. I'm editing at the moment, basically, and I've been editing all year. But I write pretty much chronologically. I just keep going through it, give it to me editor. My editor leaves loads of notes in the margin. It comes back to me. I go through it, reading his notes, making the necessary changes. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm right at the end. And right at the end, there's a little denouement where the protagonist talks about Patong, right? And it was beautiful being there, writing about being there, because the novel, the story arc, and I mean that really loosely, ended 7 years ago in the real world. In the real world, the end of that story ended 7 years ago. Do you know what I mean? It's a true story, and the story ended 7 years ago. And towards the end, there's a bit where the protagonist is talking to the reader, saying, there'll come a time when I come to Patong as a stranger, and all the girls will have grown up and got married and had kids and moved away, moved to Europe, moved to America, you know, and they'll be replaced by new girls, and the shops will disappear and the laws will change and fads will come and go. And I'd already started writing that, you know, that I'd written that 2 years ago. But here's the mind-blowing bit. I'm in the luxury position for a writer to actually have seen that change take place. And you'll, hello, Special K, you'll see here how I get to the nothing exists bit. Because there was a time, I first went out to Patong about 18 years ago, I think, 15 years ago. And I loved it. And I went back 3 or 4 times a year for about 8 years. And I'd get on a taxi at the airport, drive me to Patong, go over that big hill. Patong comes out of the sewer like a big neon cinema screen. And you're there and you're like, wow, get out of the taxi. Straight away, all the girls who work for Ganya's Massage are like, oh, kiss, kiss. Not, that's what they call me. They're not just trying to kiss me or anything. And I'm like, hey, and they've seen me go through some dark stuff, all of them. And they've looked after me and they've loved me and they've cared for me and I've fucked them. And then there's a little bar there and they know me. Then the woman at the Vietnamese cab, oh, kiss. And I'm like, do me a Tom Yum Goong and get me one of those mangoes and sticky rice. She goes, I know what you want. And I go, I'll come back when I've dropped my bags off. And so everyone knew me. And because I was going back so regularly, that just kept happening. So, and I'd come out of that road where the guest house is on, turn onto the main drag, Ratu Thit P200 Road. Ratu Thit P200 Road, no joke. And I'd walk past about 10, 15 massage shops, and I'd know all the girls, know them. Proper biblical. And, you know, I'd chat with them, and then I'd go into the restaurant. They'd know exactly what I was going to eat because I'm a creature of habit, blah, 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 blah. And then in the end of my manuscript, I predict, not because I'm very intelligent, but because it's obvious. I predict that there'll come a time when I come to Patong and no one will know me. And I say, this will have happened, this will have happened. Now, being out there a few days ago, I saw those changes, which is such a treat for a writer, because I can write it like I was predicting it. You know, the girls that I knew 10 years ago who were like 20, 22, 23, you know, they're all like nearly 40 now. You know, they're in their mid to late 40s. They're not whoring. They're not massage girls. They've got kids. They're back in the provinces. Or, you know, whatever they're doing, they're not, if they're going to work those streets or those massage parlors, you do see the occasional slightly older woman, but she's doing your pedicures, you know, she's not doing your pedicures. And so I saw all them gone. And I saw that when I first went there, Thailand was I'm going to say it, Thailand was a narcotic holiday back in the day. Like, I can remember parts of Patong that had no tarmac. It was quite originally Patong was considered a very hard place to get to. There was no roads there. Well, there were, but it was like dun, dun, dun. You go there now, it's just sex tourist paradise. You know, and it really is. I've got nothing wrong with that. Well, there's nothing right with it either, but I'm just not making a judgment. I've been on both sides of that one. This time, I just wasn't interested. But all the girls have gone. So I can walk past 10 shops. Each shop's got 10, 15 girls, and I scan all their faces, and I don't know any of them. Of course I don't, because I don't go there 3 times a year. You know, the gaps between me going started, you know, it was like a few months. I'd go 3 or 4 times a year for sort of 6 years. Then I'd have a year and I'd go. Then it was a year and a half, 2 years, 3. And now it's been so long. I know I only went sort of about 8 months ago, but I had a bit of it then. I made a video, Goodbye to Patong. And they've changed the cannabis laws out there, which I took full advantage of. I'm not a stoner. I'm not a stay high. Thank you. Someone's dropped a donation. I will check them in a minute. I'll read all of them together. So, you know, feel free. Let the tsunami flow. Now, when I went there 15, 16 years ago, there was a pharmacy every 3 or 4 shops. And I'll always remember the one I used the most. It was called Happy Meds. Happy Meds. I mean, at least, you know, that isn't utopian idealism. That's just ideal. And, you know, things like that, you know, sort of things like, you know, smiling tablets, laughing gas sold here. And you could go into them back in the day and go, right, I want 500 alprazolam, 500 diazepam, do me a lot of Ritalin, blah, 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 blah. You can't. You have to look. Now, if you go into a pharmacy in Patong and you want any of that, any scheduled drug, they're like, nah, you've got to go down Bangla, which is, you know, the sort of walking street, which is all the pharmacies are organised crime owned. And, you know, they don't just go, you want diazepam? They have to get it out of a box under the counter and they look around a bit and all this nonsense. Not that I asked. I just know that. The hotel that I've always stayed at, Seals Mansions, that's now gone through 4 different owners. The first owner saw all what the novel's about. She's in it. Tick. You'll read about her. Tick. Little 5 foot nothing bird. Actually managed to carry me as well once. You know, that tells you how thin I was. I had a foot massage from a girl called Noy, and she told me she carried me once. She said, yeah, you were just shivering on the floor. And I picked you up and took you to your room. I was like, I don't remember that. Anyway, when Tick left Seals Mansions and this bloke Alex bought it, I remember hearing about that and thinking, oh man, I don't want it to change. I want to go there, because I used to go there and never tell Tick that I was going. And you'll read this in the manuscript. In the novel, I'd pull up in the taxi and just open the door and she'd go fucking mad. Really excited, lovely to be welcomed like that, you know. And I realised that wasn't going to happen. There was going to be some strange bloke called Alex who I didn't know. And when I got there, this isn't this time, this is about 9 years ago now. He'd bought the house next door and he'd smashed them through. So Seals Mansions, this tiny little guest house, was now almost a hotel. And I was like, no. And I remember almost obsessively saying to people, this used to be the reception here. Like, there was a wall here. And I used to lay on this bench. And that door, you know, like old people do. That's what old people do, isn't it? I remember I was at my mother's house once when she was living in New Zealand. I had it to myself. And there was a knock on the door once. And this bloke, he was about 70, he said, do you mind? He said, is this your house? I said, well, it's my mother's. He said, I used to live here. He said, I lived here when I was like 14. I said, do you want to come in and have a look? He said, I'd love to. And I let him in, and he done all that. He was going, I remember here there used to be a blah, blah, blah. And he'd come out the back, and because we had one of those 80s extensions where, you know, your 13-foot wide room goes out another 4 feet so you can get a washing machine in. Twin tub, here we go. The whole house is shaking. Mum's doing the washing and ruining the weekend again, Dad. And I was finding myself doing that at Seals Mansions. Yeah, and to anyone. And the bird behind the jump must have heard me say it to so many different people. Nah, when I used to come here, I always used to have room 501, like the jeans. And then she'd hear me say that to someone else about an hour later, because of course that used to be the blah, blah, blah. and then realizing I don't like that change. But here's the weird thing. 2 weeks later, me and Alex are best mates. And then when I walk up that road after being out and had a massage, Alex is there. And he's like, where have you been, you dirty bastard? Do you want a gin and tonic? And I go, no. And then it was Alex's place and it was all right. You suddenly realize change is all right. Once you accept it, change is all right. Because then it changed owners again. Mumford said to me, he said, no, he said, it's some weird Italian, they're all hippies. And that's when they relaxed the cannabis laws. The Thai Minister for Health gave out 1 million female plants with instructions how to clone them. And in Thailand, as with Cambodia and most of Southeast Asia, you can grow weed outside most of the year as long as it's not monsoon. And they were like, this is medicinal. We don't want people sitting around getting stoned. I've got a bit of a problem with the old cannabis dispensaries, medicinal. Green crack, I mean, it's as arbitrary as alprazolam. It's as arbitrary as paracetamol in its own way. I mean, there's probably some link to alprazolam and the chemical structure. But there's also a cultural link to green crack and amnesia haze and, white widow, whatever. But now, as I was saying, it used to be all the pharmacies, every 4 shops would be a pharmacy and you'd see all the Europeans queuing up to just get their goodies in. And now there's a cannabis dispensary, honestly, every 4 or 5 shops. Now, I haven't been to Patong, I haven't been to Bangkok since any of this has happened, but I guarantee they're the same because this is that moment of the market. What will happen in Patong? I mean, the whole place just smells of the finest selectively bred hybrid weed. The one I bought a bit of, it said on the thing 28% THC, and I was like, you've done it now, George. They were selling fucking diamonds and sauce. Have you had the diamonds and sauce? The sauce is all the terpenes. The diamonds are 99.9% THC. The sauce, which is almost like a syrup, it's a byproduct of when they're extracting the diamonds, and it's the terpenes, so it's got all the nice flavors and smells. Whereas the diamonds, they've got no flavor, no smell, nothing, and a tiny little bit of that, and it's like you're tripping. You're like, whoa, hang on a minute, no, stay just there. That's just right. As it's still creeping up, and you're like, I'm literally tripping. But they poured the sauce back in it. It's quite sweet, actually. It looks like a few quartz crystals in a little bit of saliva. Anyway, so it smells different. It used to smell like shit, Patong. It hasn't got the sewage infrastructure for the amount of people who go there and are using the toilet through both ends most nights. I mean, when it floods in Patong, which it is prone to in monsoon season, all you see on the water is empty blister packs, condoms, and Viagra packets. It's like, yeah, this is Patong. However, and this is where it gets a little bit maudlin, a little bit sad, because I've always told you, everyone here. I'm just checking. I'm just going to refresh entropy. Blogs has dropped 20 into entropy. Nice one, Bill. I won't miss that one, mate. That's why I checked it. There's a couple of super chats as well, but I'm just going to finish this story and then I'll do both of them. Feel free to donate, people. Like I said, I was in the privileged position of seeing the place that in the manuscript I predict will change, that I predict I will go back to as a stranger. And what I wrote while I was out there was beautiful. Now, I'm not going to say that to you. You might be thinking, hang on, you don't get to decide whether it's beautiful, but I obviously think I can write or I wouldn't write. And I obviously think I can write stuff that touches people. I wouldn't bother. But it was gorgeous sort of saying that, Patong, that I've talked to you about. I've made videos about the place. I've spoken to you about it. You know, I've called it my spiritual home. I've written a book about it. You know, when I'm writing that manuscript, I get Google Earth up and I get where I'm writing about on the screen. But being out there, of course, is obviously even better than that. And I was saying, you know, as from the position of the protagonist in the novel, in real terms 7 years ago, there will come a time when I'll come back here and know no one. There'll be no Tick, Alex, Johnny, Timpany. Yeah, that is her name. Ganya, even, which make more sense to you when you read the manuscript. You know, the pharmacies will be replaced by new drugs, and which is cannabis, weirdly, and diamonds and sauce and the likes of that. They'll all get swallowed up by corporates anyway. You know, at the moment, there's loads of little tiny dispensaries. They've all got their own little character about them. But, you know, the big guns will come in. They'll be able to undercut everyone, and all the little ones will go out of business. And there'll be one big cannabis sort of emporium there. And once they've put all the small people out of business, then they've got a monopoly. Then the prices go back up, the quality goes down, the customer service goes down. And great, thanks corporatism, you really helped. But I realized that Patong doesn't exist. It never existed. You know, nothing delimits Patong. Patong is just a name. It names an area, a territory. It names a space on a map that someone drew a line at some point and said, that's Patong. And you can't love that. You can't love an arbitrary, you know, because you can't have all of that. You can look at it on a map. You can look at it on Google Earth from above. But Patong was a mythology of mine that I maintained by going back regularly, by repeating. And that's how myths maintain themselves, isn't it? We repeat them. That's why religions have rituals and why religions celebrate annual festivals. Repetition maintains mythologies. And if I'd have carried on going out to a Patong, I wouldn't have seen it change, because I'd have been going out there every few months like I was originally. Because I went out there for 7-8 years on the bounce a couple of times a year, like I told you. And without a doubt, it changed. Without a doubt, the girls got older and moved, and younger, newer girls come in, and shops changed, and the hotel management changed and all that. Of course it did, because that happens. Admittedly, it did. There was a bit of exponential growth after COVID for obvious reasons. Everyone was skint. So, you know, new opportunities formed after the coup. I mean, the coup didn't exist. We don't need to tell you that. But repeating the mythology, going back there, weirdly, again, being in this luxury position of being where I am now and having hindsight and you know, retrospect, when I went there, the first couple of nights, the first thing I'd done was go round and check up on all the points, sort of like the cream of the people that I know there. So Ganya first, Tick, who run the hotel. Ganya, they're one of the most significant romances in my life. Still, weirdly. You know, Timpany is this weird sort of lady boy that runs his shop, but is actually a very, very interesting person for all the wrong reasons. But, you know, go down Soy Kep Sap, that's gone. Soy Kep Sap was the dirtiest whoring triangle in the world. Anyone in the chat been to Patong and knows Soy Kep Sap? Put a 1 in the chat. I'd just be interested. But that's gone now. It was a little triangle. So it was 3 roads, the main road, and then one that come off it, and it went back to it, and then one that went to the beach. And, it's quite interesting, actually. Moody Edge says used to be better. Now, he might be talking about something else. But here is something that's just reminded me of something. When I first went to Patong, when you went in a massage shop, none of the girls had mobile phones. I didn't have one then. That's not true, actually. I did have one. Yeah, I had the first iPhone, weirdly. But they had like Nokias or whatever. But that, unless you're playing Snake or making a phone call, hello, this is me. How are you? Good. I'll talk to you later in person. Thanks. You didn't sit staring at them. And when you went into a massage shop, whether for a massage, foot massage, whatever, or because you were having an affair with the boss and you knew all the girls and you'd already dabbled, you'd go in there and they'd be a bit bored. So when they see you, I'm talking like 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, they'd all be doing each other's makeup, putting their fake eyelashes on, doing each other's hair, all that stuff. And you'd go in, they go, hey, kids, how are you? You have a nice time, Patong? I hear yesterday you Ganya, blah, 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 blah. There was a community and they'd all talk and it was all good fun, a lot of laughter. There was a sub-economy because most of the working girls come down from Isan. Isan is like up by the northern edge of Laos. Kon Kan, Nong Khai, Udon Thani, all that part of it, part of the Golden Triangle, really, that the sort of southeast corner of it. Anyway, they don't eat the same food as Thai people. They actually speak Lao as their first language, not Thai. Weirdly, they were taught Thai at school, but when they got home, they spoke Lao because that was the culture from where they come. And they all speak Lao in the shops. They don't speak Thai to each other. They can speak Thai, but they choose not to. And there was this economy where they're like, because the Isan girls don't want to eat Thai food, certainly not the anglicized Thai food of Patong, which is just normal food with coconut and pineapple in it. There'd be Isan older women who used to do massage jobs. They'll come around with like walking carts with Isan food on it. And then there'd be a communal eating where everyone would sit on the floor, the massage doors would be shut, nice conversations. And I slowly saw that change. And I remember one year, about 5 years after that, going into a massage shop, 6 girls there, all on their phones. Some talking to people, some just looking at things, swiping. And I thought, look at that. In the space of a few years, it's gone from a really busy, engaging community to everyone's separate. Now everyone's in their own world. And a lot of those Thai girls, as with Cambodian girls, working girls, they have 3 or 4 phones. Each one's been bought by them by their boyfriend, who's only got that boyfriend. That's what they think. And they use it to call that boyfriend, and they call him every morning. Hello, darling. Hello, honey. No, I think about you every day. Yeah, no, it's lovely. Oh, no, I'm okay, but grandma needs to go to hospital, or grandma needs a new cow. I've literally heard that more than 100 times. I've heard a working girl in Southeast Asia tell her boyfriend in Italy or Abu Dhabi, wherever, anywhere around the world, basically, grandma needs a new cow. It got hit by a car. And you're just like, wow, people actually go for that. And then at the end of it, they're like, oh, can you send me $100, please? Okay, I love you. Anyway, listen, I got to go, honey, got to work. Thanks. Bing, money appears in the bank. Put the phone down. Next phone up. Hey, hello, honey. I love you, honey. Oh, I miss you so much. Yeah. Oh, you look handsome. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. It's just, my cousin, you met her, Kia. You met Kia, yeah. She fell off a motorbike and cannot pay hospital. And, then chop her arm off. And then, how much you need? It's going to be about $4,000, honey. Oh, you can? All right, here's my bank details. I've got them ready. Next. Yeah, really. That's their job. That's what they do. There's nothing right with that. So I saw all that change, but because I was going so regularly, repetition, ritual, mythology, maintain it, not accepting change, maintaining the illusion of samitude, I'm going to say. But this time, I was the bloke I predicted in the manuscript. I've said before, the beauty of traveling on your own is to recognize yourself in the face of strangers, because they don't expect anything of you. They've got no assumptions about you apart from how you appear, obviously. But they're not interested in, I've done this, because that sort of European or American or Western currency doesn't mean so much to them. You know, you tell a Thai girl you've got a master's degree, they're like, okay. Where if you're that's part of your status, that's part of, you know, things like that are part of your status, part of all the different things that make up who you are and make up your chance of being chosen as a mate in the West. But in Southeast Asia, it means shit. It's all about the filthy lucre. How much have you got, and how are you going to maintain or sustain it coming in if we have children? Which makes sense for a woman, obviously. So I realised, and I talked to Trevor. Trevor was out there as well. It was beautiful, actually. Me, Paul, and Trevor. And I briefly got a word in between Bawley and Trevor. Very hard when you're in controlling company, but you learn to put up with it. And I said to him, you know, it's a different place now. And he said, yeah, he said it never existed. And as I thought about that, I thought, you know, there comes a moment, like, I'm obsessed with nostalgia. I think if Pizzle was here, he'd agree that the word I use most on this channel is contradiction. The second word I use most is nostalgia. I've got my own version. I've got like a thing I call prostalgia, which is based on the etymology of nostalgia, but now's not the place for that. But I am obsessed. When I say I'm obsessed with it, not necessarily doing it, not just going. And nostalgia is if you look at the etymology of it, algia, like neuralgia, is pain, the pain of wanting to return home. But there gets a point. Thank you for that donation. I will read them out in a minute, all of them, both. I realized it's when you accept that the myth has died, that you haven't maintained enough repetition, you haven't maintained enough rituals, you've left it too long to keep the illusion that Patong exists. And you can use this for anything. You can use this for a place, a person, a thing, anything. And when I was there with what I call my best friends, and there was a weird little incident with one of the girlfriends that sort of upset the apple cart a bit between the, not really, but it altered the dynamic, you know? And I was already going through all this, and I thought, you know what? It's at the point when you suddenly, give me a 1 in the chat if you've ever, yes, Pags, yep. I have certainly heard that as well. Along those lines. There is, what was I going to say? Give me a 1 in the chat if you've found something that like a holiday resort that you've loved and you've told loads of people about and you've always loved it, and you know you've thought about it, you've watched documentaries about it, and you went back there 10 years later or something and it didn't quite measure up to the mythology that you made of it. and a bit of you was a bit like, yeah. And you can blame it on change. Well, it's not as good as it was because it's changed. Nice to see some ones. Some people are following this, and that's not on you. That's on me explaining it. But what I think happens is, at the moment when you realise that actually it never existed, it was just a line you drew around it, called it what it's called, Patong, and tried to maintain it. But when you go back there, it's not the same. It never existed. And in 10 years, it'll be a different place again. And then when I'm sitting with my two best friends, well, how do I know they're my best friends? What, because I've known one of them for 32 years? So it's about time, is it? Because if it's about time, I've got a mate I've known for 40 years. I've got a mate I've known for 47 years who I still talk to, once, twice a month. So it's not about time, is it? That's falsifiable. And the other one I've known for 15, 17 years maybe. No, less than that. Yeah, about 15 years. And I was thinking, so what actually, if Patong doesn't exist, I mean, I'm not being super post-structural here. I understand that Patong exists, all right? But what I mean is, what is that? I'm questioning what that means. It's just a place name. And places are prone to alter themselves. Things are not self-identical. You cannot define something. It will escape definition before you get to the end of the definition. As I said near the beginning of this rant, Roland Barthes changed the object itself, and I talked about quantum physics. But actually talking about something, actually explaining and defining Patong as one might perchance in a manuscript, in a story, well, that's part of the mythology. That's part of changing it. Because there'll be other people who've been to Patong who've got a different Patong, who had different experiences, met different people. And if you ask them to write a couple of pages about Patong, it might be about diving. It might be about driving scooters about. Oh, there's a scooter ride in my manuscript. But do you know what I mean? So even the act of mythologizing it into immortality in a manuscript changes it. And at that point, I realized it's the same with people. And I thought, these aren't my best friends. What they have is the potential to engage with me on a level that I find satisfying and that makes me want to continue engaging with them. Whereas there's other people in my life who I get bored with very quickly. There's other people in my life who I just think, just shut up. I'm not interested. I'm what's the word? I'm putting up with this just because, I need something from you. And that's standard life as well. But that also needs repetition. If someone's going to earn the title of best friend, and they don't ask for that, you put it on them. They need to repeat that often enough to maintain the illusion. And that's when I realized this lovely little, I like to call it Dangerfield's paradox. I don't, and it's not a paradox. But you reach a point with all of this, with everything I've said about that place and, what it means to me and what it's meant to me. You reach a point, and this isn't I haven't hit upon a wonderful dialectic here or anything, but you reach a point where you've now got nostalgia, not for the object, not for Patong. The nostalgia, the pain of wanting to return to Patong isn't for Patong. It's for what? Tell me in the chat what it's for. Is Latas here? I reckon they'll get it. What is the nostalgia for Patong? What does it become? A nostalgia for what? I want to see if anyone knows what the fuck I'm talking about. It's a good it's a good guess. And in many worlds correct. That's also a good lovely Winstoner. Exactly that. And that is some wicked jokes here. It's just whores. That's what I realized. Because although I talk if you read my manuscript, the love I had for Ganya was incredible. You know, I always describe her as one of the most significant relationships in my life. The time we had together, she saved my life, which is a massive thing for someone to do, or otherwise I'd be dead, you know. But we didn't get together. You know, we were together, and it was heavy, intense romance. But we never got together. Why not? Why didn't I? I've got together with plenty of other girls. And we both made excuses at the time, like if we got together, maybe it would ruin what it is. No, it would just change it. And again, that's changed. So you're maintaining an illusion again. So your best friends, your lovers, your places, all these things. And I just thought that at that point, it's pathological. When you've got nostalgia for nostalgia, that's just daydreaming now. That's just daydreaming, because the object has just lost all relevance in the story, and you're just it's like dreaming about dreaming, you know, which I think a few of you have probably done. I've certainly done it. But having a dream about having a dream, you know, that extra step makes the second dream kind of irrelevant, because it's within the bigger dream. So it's just a part of a dream. It's not, doesn't have the aspects and facet. It doesn't have the function of a dream, because it is a dream. And if you're having that longing, that sort of bittersweet, painful longing to return to something that is a bittersweet longing, you're not functioning properly. You're not functioning healthily. It's not a healthy way to live. It's a negative way to live, because you're not accepting the truth. And the truth is that things aren't self-identical. Things do endlessly change, and you are dying. And I deliberately dropped that in just like that, because that's the crux of it. We only deny change. We only try and maintain illusions and mythologies because of the reality of our mortal coil. It's the only reason we do it. Why did I want to pretend that there was a Patong that I could tell you this, and everyone recognized me, and it all stays the same, timeless. So every time I went back there, it was the same. Oh, I'm not 10 years older. I'm not 20 years older. You know, I'd argue that human culture exists for the simple reason that at some point in our development, we understand, we realize that we are going to die, and that is not tolerable. That can't be tolerated, because if you accept that, why would you? It's very difficult to carry on. It's a fool's errand life. So we invented one hell of a distraction, and it's called culture. And whether that's Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro, whether it's a Van Gogh painting, whether it's a war on the Gaza Strip, whether it's your new socks, that culture industry, always working, fills that space so that you don't have to think about that inevitability. That's why the culture industry has got its hand down your throat and keeping your art going, because you need it. You need to feed on it. In previous cultures, we had different rituals. We had different mythologies. We had things that went back through generations. We had oral histories and songs and communities and things that actually meant death, things where death actually had a function. And we embraced it and we had stories about it, but that's all gone. And so we're just hanging on now. We're just sort of hanging on a rope of sand, swinging on it, no less. And it goes from birth to the grave. I want to read out Blogs' entropy. Let me just refresh entropy. Mousecat drop. I know I already read that, I think. So Blog said this: I used to lurk, but you made me break my rule of being a silent, neutral observer. A bit like quantum physics. Watching now, no, equals observer effect. So 'twas an impossible rule. Your extemporaneous musings and hypotheses turned me into Columbo. Just one more thing. Then you created the niggler through meme magic. Are you a white hat? You are no, Billy Blogs. You created the niggler. I just named it. Eat that for your packed lunch on your school trip. Cracking message. Thanks for the 20 big ones. Really appreciated. And you've been a breath of stale air in the glorious House of Scrub since you got here, so it's lovely. Good to see you, man. Mousecat dropped 15 big ones. It's very kind of you, Mousecat. Would this disappearance and feelings for Patong transcribe to your feelings of England nowadays as well? Wow, that's interesting. That's a weird, interesting thought. The difference is, you know what? I haven't actually thought about that, so this is off the cuff, Mousecat. The difference is I've written off England. I've written it off because, well, for a start, I moved. I left it. But my childhood, childhood and my teens and my early 20s, it was magical, England. Absolutely magical. A wonderful place. I had a great time. You know, even being homeless, drug addict. When I look back at it, you know, it's fucking idiots. But I laugh about it because it was wild. I lived a life. But I think because I was born there, Mousecat, and because I was raised there, it wasn't, I was always used to it. When you're in an environment, it doesn't catch you out. I knew what Dartford was. There'd be little moments of, wow, I didn't know people done that. I didn't know people lived in toilets. I didn't know that people ran their head with golf clubs or whatever, But I was always there. Even when I moved to Soho, I already knew that Soho like the back of my hand. So when I moved there, it wasn't new. I'd been going up there since I was 10 years old. Whereas when I went to Patong, I never done all that Thai stuff in my 20s because I was a drug addict. All my friends were coming back saying, oh, mate, you've got to get out there. two reasons I didn't. One, because I had drug problems, which meant I would have drug problems out there, and I had a funny feeling that getting caught out there was going to be a little bit more hassle than getting caught in England. And two, the same reason I told you the other month why I never used to watch films as a young man, because I knew that films would change the way I felt, and I was a very controlling young person. I didn't want to risk that. Sit down in front of something and maybe feel different? No, I'm doing all right, keeping, just white knuckling life itself. But the other reason was I knew that if I went out there, they were telling me that you're banging 3 birds a day, you're getting on scooters and just burning around. We couldn't do that in England. You can't even ride a motorbike until you're like 20 or something stupid. And they said, no, you just hire one. It's like $2 a day. This is back in like 1985, 86. All my mates were going out there. So when I went out there at like 30 odd, it was bang. It was radically different. I knew in my 20s that if I went out there, I would want my life. I'd want to live there. And that would mean coming home and thinking, oh, I don't want this. I want that again. I want the sun. I want the beach. I want the girls. I want the parties. And now I'm back at my mother's house, skint, and it's the fucking rain has taken the skin off the side of my face. And I knew that would be the case. And I've had other people say that to me. Bawley said that to me. Bawley used to say to me, I used to say to him, mate, get out to Patong, you'd love it. And he'd be like, to be honest with you, I don't really fancy Thai girls. Well, he's done about 500 of them, so and he knows that because he's collected his Viagra packets, a weird diary of events. So that would be the difference, Mouse Cat. It was a radical difference rather than something I was gradually sort of part of. Good question, interesting. I might have to drop some of that. It's very funny just seeing JP say that, and Lumi. You two should get together when Lumi's sober enough to walk down the road and that, obviously. There's another entropy from another one from blogs. He says, you're lucky Chinese fentanyl wasn't about when you were a junkie. You'd probably be brown bread. It's very kind of you. I don't know about all this fentanyl lark. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm not. It's even a heroin overdose is a very hard thing to achieve. It's usually alcohol. Fentanyl is a different cup of tea, though, and carfentanil is even. Yeah, okay. You're probably right. Maybe, I don't know. I look forward to the ARG in favour of H. Its relative safety, functioning, just please not sharing spikes. I look forward to the ARG in favour of H. Oh, I look forward to the argument in favour of H. Yeah, I think, yeah. It's very, I know you said what I just said, actually, Bill. It's relatively difficult to overdose on skag unless you've been drinking or you're full of benzos. If they had have legalised heroin, there'd be no fentanyl market. If they had have just left it legal, you could buy opium. You could get Bayern, Bayern Munich, the football team, they grow opium poppies. They were selling heroin to give to children in the 1930s, I think it was. It's only when you start banning this stuff, you create a subculture. That's when bands make songs about it, and and it's all a little bit, oh, I'm waiting for my man. But if you just had to go to the pharmacy and get a branded smack, you'd probably like, no one. No, I don't know. Drugs is a chat for another day, perhaps. Well, certainly, because it tends to. A couple of super chats have come in. That's very kind. Let's have a look at those, and then we'll go through some. If you've got anything to say about all that stuff I was talking about and you've already put it in now, and we'll look at some of what you've got to say on the normal comments, because I don't only want people who paid to have a have their say. Field Marshal Dawn Browning says, second account because there's a YouTube glitch where I can't comment in John Davison's chat. Wow, that is so specific and weird as hell. Okay. Nice one, Dawn, a Prussian and R2. It's really weird. Anglo-Saxon for the it got hit by a car. It had a fight with another buffalo. That's amazing. Anglo, have you been out here? Do you know it, or are you just going on what I said? It's a true one. Hit by a scooter. Granny needs a new buffalo or cow. I think you're right. Actually, I think buffalo's the one they go for. It's madness, isn't it? And I had a mate come out here and he met this girl. I'll tell you, come out here, Pax Max. Oh my God, I've got to tell you. Thank you, Anglo, for that 5-bit. Really, really appreciate it. Everyone who's donated, really appreciate it. I'm sort of holding on a bit. Arklow, Chris has been a member for 30 months. Amazing. Arklow drops an air and centre. I see no harm in applying a nostalgic lens when reflecting on your life. No, likewise, that isn't the problem. But far too difficult to articulate this in a super chat. I'll save it for the next call-in. No, I'm with you. I love nostalgia. But when it's nostalgia for nostalgia, and again, that's not a judgment, even if or when you get to that stage, but when you get to that stage, something of the object, something of the myth has profoundly changed. And you're not, as soon as it's nostalgia for nostalgia, it's like a confession. It's like a confession that the original never existed. There was never Patong. There was only your definition of it, your mythologizing of it, which is, that's all right. It doesn't make you stupid or anything, but it does move you further away from the truth and nearer to fantasy. And people who live near a fantasy tend to have trouble with other humans because truth is something we can share, whereas fantasy is something that's not real. That, obviously I'm not talking about writing fantasy, but I just mean if you're intentionally tricking yourself, then necessarily you have to trick other people to have conversations around those themes and those objects. Nice one, Arklow, appreciated. Right. See what I'm going to do right now. Go like that. I'm going to go like that. People, it's 2:15 in the morning. I've done an hour and 40 minutes. I'm quite glad I managed to maintain somewhat of a thread there. I'm really sorry I haven't been streaming as much as I used to, but I really am under the cosh with work. I've got litigation problems. I've got these problems. I've got tax problems. Not paying it, just having to fucking pay it. So I'm having to spend my time working. Having said that, it's been a relatively generous donation. So that's how I can judge it. If I can justify the energy, then I'll do it. And it's really, really lovely to see you all, of course. It felt like so long. I think that's the longest I haven't streamed for. If you missed the beginning, people, I had 2 strikes that I didn't get either of. And when you've got 2, it only takes 1 more and you're wiped off of YouTube forever, for eternity. I will be putting your messages on the screen as I play us out with a bit of music by my friend Bally G. Oops, that's not the button I wanted. How do you do this? Listen, I also remembered we've got the out of it stream. So last call for photos. If you've got any photos of you out of your head, you know, this sort of thing, or, you know, mullet. You know, I know there weren't a lot of photos around when us lot were younger, but if you had one too many disco biscuits or even a couple of gin and tonics too many, and you've got a photo, send it to chris@chrisdangerfield.com. I've got about 20, I think. So it will make a stream because we can pop it up. We can have a laugh about it. We can try and identify who it is, and then will the real person step forward. We've also got to get Pax Max on here. Pax Max came to Cambodia. I met him and drove him around on the back of a scooter. When I got back from Thailand, I was going down the road in a tuk-tuk. This bloke pops his head out of one of the little tuk-tuks and he goes, "Hey, danger!" I turn around and Pax Max is like surfing the tuk-tuk door. He's like, "Hey, man, I just got back today from Chinookville." He'd gone diving down in Koh Rong. Me and him go for lunch. I'm not going to ruin it now, but I'm going to have to get him on as a guest because he told me a story, and Lord knows whether, some more donations are coming. I will look at them in a minute. Amazing. He told me a story. And another entropy. I'll read that out. Pax Max told me a story that started with me and him just eating our burgers just round there, just over there, little cafe over there. He had a head as red as you like. He was going off to meet a girl that this was the middle of the day. And he went, "I'm just going to some girl's house." Her house? But that's his business. Pax Max, so proud of him. He starts telling me this story that starts very casual. About 20 minutes in, I'm just like, what the fuck? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe what happened to Pax Max. So that mild-mannered Swedish man who lives in Germany, we'll get him on here and I'll get him to tell his story. But because they'll hold back a little bit, I'll rinse the full. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. And of course, every time you think that's it, he's then like, "Okay, I better tell you the next bit." And I was like, "Hey, well, you know, when I was handcuffed and interviewed for, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a mad story, man." So that's going to happen. Right. Vincent, he's been a member for 23. Nice ones, Vinny. I do get your emails. I do check them as well. Plot Losers dropped 50 SEK in. No, I never know what SEK is. Swedish krona. Nice one, Plot Loser. You donated at the beginning you become a member. Jared's been a member for 36 months. John B's been a member for 32. Ollie Oliver's been a member for 29. Don Browning for 21. Ludwig drops a 10-bit and says, "Nice to see you, Chris. Nice to see you, Chris. Have some ribeye on me. Great stream and lovely scrubbage." Yeah, it was lovely scrubbage. I felt that as well. It's I worry sometimes when I haven't been around for a bit that people think I'm knocking it on the head, and I wouldn't do that because it's quite important, isn't it? Quite a good community here. There was a period when everyone was like, "Yeah, we should build in real life communities." Yeah, they've pretty much legislated against it. This is life now. This is how people, you know, you do have IRLs, but we had 140 people here at the peak. I think it was about 146. To get 146 people who've got, you know, similar ideas or at least can stomach each other in the same digital space, that's something to celebrate. And yeah, nice one, Ludwig. Good call. Blog says this in entropy. He drops another et and center in, and he said, "Over here, Brick Dictator in entropy said sluts." When I was talking about nostalgia for nostalgia, his guess was sluts. Well, everything's sluts as well. Blog says, "Of course you would mess it up. You must be pulling my plonker. The neutral observer rule was never truly feasible as the no equals number of people. Yeah, but I don't know what that means. As the no equals number of people watching, aka watching now, no, generates. All right. I'm not going to get in trouble for this. I'm going to share it with the very much inglorious House of Scrubs and see whether it's me. See if it is my fault. Let's have a look at this. This is what Blogs has just said to me. I'll let you decide. Of course you would mess it up. You must be pulling my plonker. The neutral observer rule was never truly feasible as the no, or is that number? Is that like an abbreviation for number? No. No. Equals number of people watching, no comma, aka watching now, no. With a big O, not a small o, so that's not the same as the other no. Small g generates the observer effect no matter how slight. So like Kirk, I broke the prime directive 4, a bit of a very alien, strange. I fucked that up. They call in the niggler and there's many reasons for it. Nice one, niggler. You just when we thought you were getting back to your usual madness, you absolutely madded it up. I just want to see what the chat's got to say about that madness. It was a bit tricky. There you go. Lartus is all over it. Blogs. So I fucked up as the second no, as I felt you would mess this up again. I don't know if you can blame me for that, Bill. I do. I apologise. I think that's old Rapid Xbox. You've changed your name to Surprising Mizami or something. There you go. John just says it like we all say it. Jared's all over it. Hello, Jared. Here, look, he's there. Look. Wait, don't give anything away, though, Pax Max. I nearly went there. I hope you're well. You're back in Germany now. Did you enjoy it out here? You seem to have a good time. Your head was red, man. That was one red head. I was getting emails from Pax Max, and he was like, oh, it's the new hotel. He was like, well, apart from the 4-inch cockroach this morning and the river of shower water all over the floor, it's been bloody horrible. I'm changing hotels. Vincent says it's gobbledygook. I'm sort of siding with you there, Vinny, to be honest with you. Good to see you, though, Pax Max. That was a great move that you come out here. CBTV. Hello, CBTV. You must know what diamonds and sauce are. Is he trying to explain how the algorithm is triggered by abbreviations? He didn't explain it with clarity. I mean, if you're asking, he's not telling, is he? Good call, Cray boy. Man, Send Wish said, I think he meant if the watching now number. Oh, the watching now number. If the watching now number is up, then people are watching. Very good insight there from Silly Billy. Bill, you've brought this stream to a crushing conclusion of confusion. And there's absolutely nothing right with that. I'm going to play you some music and say goodbye to you people. I've got to get on with my manuscript, although I should really sleep. Woke up yesterday, head stuck to the keyboard again, broke the keyboard, but I did type about 500. No, that's a lie. About 3,000 pages of X's. Just until it just went, no. The computer went, I've got a feeling this isn't intentional. So, that's right. So, blogs, look, finally. There you go, look. There you go. The watching now number. Okay, right. Let's have a look at the entropy then. Right. The neutral observer rule was never truly feasible as the now number, the number equals the number of people watching. I also known as people watching now generates the observer effect, no matter how slight. Okay, I get what you're saying. Not a Danny. Anyway, here we go, people. I call this one. Look at him now in capitals, going absolutely berserk. You can imagine him in his mental ward now, all in like padded rooms and that, just going. The number watching affects the way you act. Therefore, the stream. Therefore, not neutral. Semicolon observer. There you go. Yeah. No, that's how I read it. There's some advice. They are start and stop. Love it. In many ways, a perfect end to the stream. Here's some music. Listen, bless you all. Look after yourselves and look after the people you love. Knyom Stroline Bomb on Knia. Pat Smack saw me speaking Khmer and was very impressed. I could feel it emanating from him. Here we go. Look after yourselves. Look after yourselves, old darlings. Also share audio. Yes, yes, yes. We don't need my ugly mug on the side of the page, though, do we? Ta-da, people. I'm going to have to mute myself.
Everyone knows I'm gonna be the first man down. All my friends are sick of having me around. Nobody wants to give a buddy one last break. Can't go on, I've taken all a man can take.
Don't forget to check out that latest Dragon's Den.
Very good. The world don't watch you drown. Maybe my mind will fail to ever find the point. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave underneath the wave. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna lay my head on the riverbed. Looking back, I rejected every place I stayed. A woman says I'm lying in the bed I've made. She says warriors don't give up before the war begins. So I get high to justify the mess I'm in.
That's more like it, Brownie.
People get mad and people get sad, but at least they have a cause. I struggle to feel emotion I can really trust. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave underneath the wave. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna lay my head on the riverbed.
Funny enough, I'm looking at Shark Tank and the Aussie one for some more stuff, but there's something quintessentially English about Dragon's Den, which is a bit easier to interpret. I've watched it before.
I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave underneath the wave. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna lay my head on the riverbed. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave.
We might have that actually, John. It's quite nice. People are still here, so I'll whack that on, shall I? Let me see if I can just get hold of it. Hang on. Give me a couple of seconds. I think it's been long enough. Here we go. Posh bang. Wallet posh. I've got to do this, but I think it's only fair. By the way, I forgot to say thank you to everyone who donated. I joke in that, but it's really very kind of you. I know everyone's skint at the moment. And thanks to Stephen Rags who look after the place, even though it kind of looks after itself, and they're there, which is always lovely. And thanks to everyone for coming to these streams, because I love it. I love this community, and I feel recharged from scrubbage. So here's a bit of Alex. I think it's only fair. If I can just remember how to work the computer. Let me know you've got audio, yeah? Because I don't know if you will.
The economic store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive. They're selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin, and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same
It's
room
coming,
with
Chasworth.
that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. In a roof, vampire pot, and the goblins are hobbling round, coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil, and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap, we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions upon it, people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
It's weird because so was I. There you go, people. I'm gonna sit and watch a movie. I watched The Equalizer Part 3, definitely in the cinema, of course, because otherwise that would be wrong. And it wasn't John Blick. I enjoyed the first one. I thought the first one was a good take on a classic. You know, can't go wrong with Denzel. But it wasn't John Blick that I thought it would be. There's actually only 2 scenes in it. It's like it's a story arc of that. Yeah. All right. Look after yourselves, people. Hoita!